This is ANN News Brief.
50 migrants were plucked to safety off Libya's coast on Sunday after a charity ship in the Mediterranean searched open waters for an overloaded rubber boat whose engine has failed. A pregnant woman whom rescuers said was close to full term, along with 12 minors and 37 men, was rescued by the crew of Norwegian-flagged Ocean Viking, operated by Doctors Without Borders and SOS Mediterranean. All the migrants are from Sub-Saharan Africa. 2 persons fell ill and collapsed upon arrival on the ship. 3 others were soaked in fuel and 2 suffered from mild hypothermia. The charity ship had found the migrants' boat some 14 nautical miles from Libya. The African Union has lifted the suspension it imposed on the Sudan and has welcomed the new civilian government in the country. The Sudan had been suspended in June in response to the violent breakup of a protest site in the capital Khartoum. During that incident, opposition medics said dozens of protesters were killed amid a standoff between the ruling military men and civilian opposition. On Thursday, the country's new cabinet since April was formed following the ouster of former long-term President Omar Al-Bashir. Peace and Security Council of the African Union voted on Friday to lift the suspension. In a Twitter message, the AU says it was committed to supporting the reconstruction process and mobilizing the international community. The Sudanese Foreign Ministry says the country would use the occasion to reaffirm its commitment to the goals and objectives of the African Union. We'll return after this message.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and the World Health Organization is reporting that the number of countries with national suicide prevention strategies has increased in the 5 years since it released its first global report on suicide. But the UN Health Organization also says the total number of countries, 38 of them, is still far too few. It calls on more government to commit to establishing them. The WHO official, Dr. Alexandra Fleischmann, says suicide is a serious public problem. He says WHO estimates put the number of suicide deaths globally at 800,000 per year. He says that means there is a suicide death every 40 seconds. He said the most common forms of suicide are hanging and ingesting pesticides. 1/5 of those who commit suicide ingest pesticides. Dr. Fleischmann says suicide was the second leading cause of death among young people between 15 and 29 years of age, especially after road injury. He said one way to reduce the number of suicides is to restrict access to pesticides that are used for self-poisoning. That's ANN News Brief. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi.